I read your fanfic.
Happy Valentine's Week.
Yay.
To make this a truly joyous occasion, I don't have chocolates, but I have something that's approximately the same color, as I understand it. From a fanfic called A Bender and Her Bowels by the author Pooh Wright. Disclaimer, I do not own Avatar: The Last Airbender, nor any of the characters from it.
Hi, Kitty.
I do not make any money from the writing of this story.
Can I just say, because I have this in the background, I am super bummed that Shirley Temple died today. Well, technically it was yesterday because this is after 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. when we're filming this. But can I just say that I'm really bummed? That did not make my day.
I understand your sadness. I really don't want to offend the powers that control the universe by associating Shirley Temple in any way with what I'm about to read.
No, seriously, we don't associate with her at all. God bless you, Shirley Temple.
Especially since I need something much stronger than a Shirley Temple to get me through this.
Yeah.
Let us out of here! Aang yelled into the darkened dungeon as he gripped the cell's bars and shook them. Watching his small, wiry frame writhe as he tried fruitlessly to muscle the door loose, Katara felt more confident that he'd slip a disc than budge the thick bars. That's a great idea, Aang, Sokka groaned. I'll bet if you just keep shouting, Azula and her pals will just give up and let us go. I don't see you thinking of anything, Aang challenged. At least I'm trying. Why do I always have to be the one who thinks of things? Toph, it's your turn to think of something. The blind earthbender shook her head. You're the idea guy, remember? Besides, she drove her heel into the iron floor, I can't even see. Then you, Katara. You haven't come up with any ideas, and all Aang's plan will do is give us a headache. But Katara shook her head as well. Sorry, Sokka. Toph's right. You're always been the idea guy. I'm sure you'll come up with something great. She was intentionally playing to her brother's ego. He seemed to do his best work while inflated. Yeah, you're probably right, he replied, grinning, making no attempt to argue Katara's compliment. But that doesn't mean I have to come up with all the ideas. Still the complainy guy, too, Toph muttered, toe quietly for anyone but Katara to hear.
Easily digested and absorbed.
All right, Sokka said, standing tall now that his id had been stroked. What are you doing? Are you reading something at the same time I am?
Yes.
It's distracting. You're supposed to interject between my pauses.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just really fucking bored. Continue.
Aang's already tried busting these bars with airbending. He flicked the bars and a low metallic ring filled their cell. They took Katara's bending water and there isn't an inch of earth in sight.
So far, nothing to do with your bowels.
He knelt in front of the lock. But maybe if we... Katara lost interest in what he was saying. Sokka always would find a way to pull the group through this. He always did, so she'd leave him to his devices. She rested both hands on her abdomen and grimaced painfully. She had her own issue to deal with. Here it comes. It had been less than an hour since Azula and her two floozies had caught them off guard. Of course, she and her friends had tried to put up a fight, but her opponents had the element of surprise and had made short work of the resistance.
Surprise!
Now the small group of four found themselves en route to the Fire Nation, crammed uncomfortably into a tiny cell built for no more than one person.
Okay, first of all, you only hit my ear. Second of all, I could totally get that because I think everybody has experienced...
Cramming?
No, a painful crap that is so painful and your ass is on fire that you are literally pooping fire.
And how accurate the word uncomfortable was. Aang and Sokka were shoulder to shoulder.
It's not just uncomfortable. I mean, you're praying to God or whatever deity you believe in. If you don't believe in any deity, you're praying to your toaster.
While they poured over the metal door.
Just saying.
Toph leaned indifferently against the grimy metal wall on the hard wooden bed Katara had been sitting on since their imprisonment was starting to hurt her back. But she didn't dare move. The extra pressure against her bottom served her in her struggle.
No, you gotta clench your cheeks.
The room was plain and dull, a simple cube whose walls were thick metal. Metal prison cells were the norm in the Fire Nation, and had been since the advent of the war. It made sense. Earthbenders couldn't bend metal. She claimed the sole bed for a chair, but...
Wait!
What?
Metal is technically made from minerals that are found in the earth. So how come you could not bend metal when it is a component found from the earth? Somebody answer that one.
My guess is that earthbenders can only bend organic compounds.
But what about making it into steel makes it non-organic?
Organic has to have carbon in it or some shit.
No, I just call bullshit on logic here.
No, metal and earth are different elements. And
You see that? I don't care, because I'm right. And
then
I
why
know
are you
it.
arguing if you don't care?
Because I just like putting my voice on film.
Well, it made sense in the context of this, because earthbenders couldn't bend metal.
Not really, but whatever.
She claimed the sole bed for a chair, but doubted anyone could sleep on it. It was adorned with only a thin sheet and no pillow. A cracked mirror hung on the wall directly opposite her, and Katara grimaced at her reflection. Even in the meager lighting, her dark skin seemed a shade or two paler. Her long chestnut hair had come unbraided in the battle, and now cascaded in wild waves down her back.
No, it would be wild knots all up down her shoulders. Just saying.
Her clothes were rumpled, torn, dirty, and scorched. Her
Wow.
blue eyes, normally so full of life, reflected desperation. There was one other item in the room. An iron chamber pot resting in the corner near Toph, but Katara refused to acknowledge it.
Why do I have a feeling that, like, in this place, they wouldn't even have a chamber pot. They would just make you shit in a corner.
Every time she looked
Just
at it...
saying.
Every time she looked at it, her sphincter relaxed with anticipation. "What's wrong?" Toph asked in a hushed voice as she plopped next to Katara. Nothing's wrong. Why do you ask?" "I may be blind." Toph's sightless eyes continued to stare straight ahead into space.
But he can smell farts.
"But my hearing is still top-notch. I can hear a quiver every time you breathe. So what's up?"
Oh my god.
I need to go to the bathroom." Katara's face flushed. She and Toph had grown close since their little wetting escapade, but she still had trouble talking about her bodily functions. "So go," Toph said easily. "They're so wrapped up in getting us out of here. I'll bet they don't even notice you peeing." Katara's blush deepened. "I need to do a little more than pee, Toph."
Oh my god, if you're like a magic warrior, you don't... Oh god.
The blind girl replied. "Can you hold it?"
I'm just saying, when my dad was in a military type situation, he just sometimes took a crap wherever he just took a crap because he couldn't move for the enemy not to spot him. I'm just saying, if you're a warrior, you might just take a dump where you just are. Jesus.
Well, that's why they call it going commando, because the commandos didn't wear underwear, so it would just, if they were sitting in the water, it would flush out.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dad sometimes had to hold his position, and he just let it go. I mean, you know, I think Einstein might have said this, or either that or somebody just said Einstein said this. The world's not going to end if you fart or take a shit or piss your pants. Something to that tune. It's not that entirely accurate, blah, blah, blah.
No, I think it was your dad said that, not Einstein.
Well, he said Einstein said it. I swear my dad really did.
Okay.
God bless Daddy. Here's a kitty.
Katara started to shake her head in response, but stopped herself. It was a little awkward having a conversation with someone who couldn't pick up nonverbal messages. "I don't think so, and the urge won't pass." "Got the runs?" Katara's face reddened further, if that were possible. "No!" Or, "It doesn't feel like it, and even if I did, I've never had trouble holding it." It was the truth. On Kyoshi Island, the islanders' food had given her the runs. Bad. But not
That's
once.
racist.
But not once did she ever have trouble holding it. It must be my nerves getting to me. Whatever it is, you should still just go. "But Aang and Sokka, they'll see me, hear me." She hesitated and blushed deeper still.
Just shit your pants and get this over with.
"Smell me." "Big deal," Toph challenged. "Sokka's your brother. Even if he hasn't seen you taking a dump, he's probably heard you.
If she's wearing a dress, she can just put her dress over the damn chamber bot and make her own ass little tent. I mean, really?
You're interrupting my rhythm.
I'm just saying it's not that logical.
He's probably heard you and defiantly smelt you. And it's better that Aang learn girls poop by seeing you on the pot and not by seeing you have an accident. This isn't like last time, Katara. I won't be able to bend this away, and neither will you. Besides, once we get out of this cell, we're going to need your mind focused on escaping, not pooping. Katara hadn't thought of it that way.
Oh, jeez.
But it didn't make it any more comfortable doing what she had to do. You're right, just try to block their view for me, okay? Katara stood up, and the pressure on her anus instantly increased. She wasn't going to lose it, but a few minutes of standing and she probably would. Quietly, she padded over to the chamber pot and lowered her skin-hugging breeches and cotton panties to her ankles. She glanced over at Aang and Sokka, who were still absorbed by whatever they were doing, before hiking her skirt up and sitting on the warm seat. Her hole yawned, and a thick, solid log emerged. You can tell this is what the writer was waiting for. It flowed smoothly and easily from her colon, its body stretching a full foot before breaking off up near her butt and thunking loudly into the empty container. Another mass followed it, but the second log was much wider. Her butthole was stretched to new limits as the brown monster eased its way out. Katara was well aware of her sexuality, and her dirty secret was a developing anal fetish. This second log was hard as rock and thicker than anything she'd ever jammed up her rectum. Her taut anal tissues responded to the gentle, steady rub as the mass emerged. Waves of pleasure joined the flood of relief, and the sensations ignited a fire in her loins. Her hands had to be restrained mentally.
Even the cat's going, what the fuck? I'm looking away.
They badly wanted to abuse her moistening pussy.
No, they didn't!
Then an airy blast of gas pulled her back to reality. Katara, what are you doing? Sokka's voice carried so many emotions it was impossible to pick them all up.
Taking a shit.
Embarrassed, she glanced toward the guys. They were giving her slack-jawed stares. They seemed to be struggling with the information.
Guys take shits in front of each other all the time. Especially if you're in a warrior situation. I mean, come on. Sochi's not the only place that has 2 urinals in one room. I mean, welcome to the military.
With the information their eyes were sending their brains. What's the matter, Toph, this time? Never had to take a dump before? Well, no, I mean, yes, Sokka stumbled. But I'm a guy. She's not. She's Katara. She's not supposed to do stuff like that. Besides, Aang is right here.
Everybody poops.
He indicated the young Avatar with an elaborate, overblown swoop of his arms. I don't mind, Aang said, grinning, his eyes never leaving a certain corner of the tiny cell. Just what is that supposed to mean, twinkle toes? Toph's voice carried an edge, and she gave Aang a narrow-eyed stare. Hey, yeah, what does that mean, Aang? Sokka this time. Nothing. I was just saying I understand everyone poops, right? Hey, Sokka, shouldn't we get back to work and give Katara some privacy? The words spilled out of his mouth like a verbal waterfall. Reluctantly, it seemed, he turned and went back to work. Toph and Sokka decided to let the matter drop. Katara was ashamed, not just by her own arousal, but also by what Aang had implied. If he had meant it how it sounded, he was in for a treat. Katara felt much better, but she wasn't quite finished. The urgency was gone, but a nagging fullness persisted.
Oh, God.
She wanted to be done with this, so she gave a little push, and was rewarded with a juicy fart. A thick but soft turd poured rapidly from between her messy cheeks this time. It crackled and popped as bursts of gas tried to escape her poop-plugged bottom. It broke off once and hit the metal bottom with a splat. She noticed Toph wrinkle her nose a little. But why not? The rancid odor of her bowels had taken over as the cell's dominant smell. Katara blushed, tried to ignore the smell, and settled in for another round. It came.
Your colon can only hold so much.
But was much thinner now. A series of soft, finger-wide cables rolled from her bottom now. Katara could barely feel them as they emerged. They snapped off almost as soon as they exited her body, and a muffled patter announced when they joined the rest of the mess at the bottom of the pot. The last wave was brief, but she produced enough waste that a stringy blanket covered the center of 2 incredibly long, wide logs and 1 gooey one. Satisfied that she was empty, Katara sighed in relief. Just then, a deafening creak echoed in the room and down the dark halls. "Got it!" Aang exclaimed. "You were right, Sokka. I was able to pick the lock with airbending." "Of course I was right. Idea Guy is always right," Sokka gloated. Katara couldn't help but smile. Things were going to turn out okay. She had relieved herself in relative peace, and now, it seemed, they were on their way to escape. That left only one unsolved problem. "Does anyone have a spare handkerchief?" That's the end.
Just get the earthbender to blast sand up her ass. I mean, nature's toilet paper.
Or waterbender to give her a bidet.
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of like, dude. Even the cat got bored. The cat's just like, I don't care.
Cat gets bored with anything after 3 seconds because she's a cat.
No.
Yes.
She gets obsessed with, like, the bouncy mouse.
Yeah, but gets bored with it pretty easily after she can't get it.
Yeah, after she plays with it for about, like, 20 minutes.
No. 20 minutes is a way overestimate.
Whatever. She's also obsessed with waking you up.
Yeah, that's nice. How was that for a Valentine's Day chocolate?
I think if you get your girl or whoever you're dating that, they should dump you. Because you deserve it.
You said dump.
Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, look, there's the cat. There's a really cute cat.
My video has been hijacked.
Yep. And trust me, folks, this is going to be the cutest thing. That's not the cutest thing. This is the cutest thing you'll see all day. That is not the cutest thing you'll see all day.